Hi, so things have changed a bit in the new Cygwin 1.7, which came out in 2014. And by default, there is no password file or group file when you install or upgrade to Cygwin 1.7. And in order to create it, you're going to need these commands. So for the group file, you could create it with just the command mkgroup. So let me bring up the terminal. And you might want to experiment with it. So this is my home directory, and I'm gonna just type in mkgroup, and you'll notice it creates the group file. Now if I redirect this to another user, another file, say group.txt, you'll notice it's created over here, and if I open it up, you notice this is the file. Now, similarly, you could do the same for this using this local users, using the L switch or the D switch for the domain users. And be very careful, because you're actually redirecting this to a file, and you might overwrite your old file. So just be careful of that, and then set the correct permissions on it. Now, there's one more thing you have to know about, which is even after doing that, even after creating the password file, you're going to be restricting users based on the password file. But by default, 1.7 no longer does that. Even though you have a password file, it'll still use both. It'll use whoever's in the password file and also whoever's in Active Directory. So say if you have a user that is in Active Directory, they could still log in regardless of whether they're in the password file or not. So basically it seems like they're bypassing the password file. So what you have to do is you have to go in Cygwin folder, and then you have to go into etc, and under etc is another file called nsswitch.config, and that file looks like this. And there are two settings, the password colon and then the group colon, and by default it specifies the password file, that's what this files word stands for, and also the DB, meaning the Active Directory database or the Windows SAMS database, for permissions to log into the system, whether it's via OpenSSH, SSH, or SFTP. So right here I've set the default to not refer to the DB, just to refer to the files. And by doing that, users in Active Directory can't just log in. They actually have to be in this password file now. So that's one thing you have to be aware of, and that's actually documented in an FAQ. So if you go under Cygwin and you go to FAQs, there's a bunch of FAQs here. But oddly enough, the solution for it, or the documentation for that nsswitch.config file, is referring to a problem of starting a new terminal window is slow. What's going on? And here's where it's documented that things have changed since version 1.7.34, that new installations now use SAM directly, whereas for almost all of its lifetime, meaning in the past, prior to 1.7, it used the password and group file exclusively. So that's what you have to watch out for in terms of the password file and the group file. And I hope this video helped you, and you could get a good night's sleep now after solving this. So, all right, thank you for watching, and hope this helped.